First of all, thank you so much for having me here. I'm just truly honored. When I was a child, my primary interest was astronomy and Ms. Nanaka's interest of spaceflight as well, which was one of the great spiritual adventures of humankind, I think, is to fly out into space. But as life had it, I ended up having my adventures here on Earth instead. And specifically, since the 1960s, I've had the very great honor and privilege of being able to talk with thousands of people all over the world who came to the point of death and were revived and experienced transcendent consciousness. Whatever they were chasing before, power or money or fame or knowledge, as in my case, people who go through this experience come out of it telling us that the most important thing we can do while we're alive is to learn to love. I have often wished, as I've thought over the years, that everybody in the world could experience that sense of love and compassion and peace that people bring back to us from the other side, or whatever it is, this transcendent consciousness. And as a physician, I have learned so much from my terminally ill patients. I had a conversation with Dr. Maki Kawamura last night about this, who is a hospice worker, and we were talking about how common it is that in the last few days or hours of life, that patients will talk unintelligibly or nonsensically. They will say things that don't make sense on the literal plane. And yet, when we talk with the families left behind, they reflect on this and they say that even though they understood that what their relatives were saying were nonsensical, that nonetheless it touched them very deeply. And so this brought to my mind a poem that I very much treasured when I was a child, and it's passed on through many generations, and it's a nonsense poem, but it is. One bright day in the middle of the night, two dead boys got up to fight. Back to back they faced each other, drew their swords and shot each other. A deaf policeman heard the noise and came and killed those two dead boys. I think in a way that is apropos to our world because, as you said, we are in a world of chaos. Things no longer make sense. And perhaps in a way we really have to face that and to explore the possibility that maybe not everything does make sense, and that we need to have new ways of understanding, new rational ways of understanding the transcendent or apparently nonsensical things that our fellow human beings tell us when they return from the greatest of all adventures, being near death. People who are dying, I gather, are suspended between two realms of existence, between the apparent physical world that we're in and apparently some other realm of transcendent existence that does not depend on matter, but that is entirely involved with consciousness. There have been cases where very difficult problems, which had been intractable, have been solved by people who were in some sort of altered state of consciousness. Very famous example of this is that of Kekulé, the chemist who understood the structure of the benzene molecule being a ring from within a transcendent state of consciousness. He was basically in what we call the hypnagogic state and was able to see this. Our problems in the world are very difficult now, and I think never in our history has any generation been faced with such daunting problems. And I want to say that maybe the transcendent kinds of consciousness that are talked about by people who almost die, or by very creative people, that perhaps these are part of the key to solving these things. So thank you.